So you're close to reaching the £100 million of completed loans milestone. What has helped you near this target, and when are you looking to complete that?
So we'll be there the week after next now, but we're imminently there. It's hard to predict after all, deals move around, etc. I think if I look back on things, we founded the business in 2013. We've been lending since 2014, and we've taken a quality approach to everything, and built a number of elements into our business that's sort of a tech platform that's incredible, that enables us to serve customers exceptionally well, exceptionally quickly, and that took a long time. And then we've been lending prudently, and that's sort of the platform of everything we'd built and continue to build was sort of really in place a few years ago. And then now in the last 3 years, we've tripled and then doubled our lending. We'll end up this year having lent around about 55, 56 million, and we'll be well north of 100 million by then. So it's been a very steady and methodical approach, but it's a lending business. You're only a lender if you get the money back, right? And you need to, there's a hell of a lot you need to build in: the processes, systems, governance, and the ability to serve customers exceptionally. And we don't think that financial services as a whole is famed for its customer focus. And that was part of the reason for founding the business in the first place, was to build a brilliant lender specifically for SME property professionals doing projects.
Mm. How have you managed to give good customer service during the crisis, especially?
Huge. I mean, communication is everything, right? I've just mentioned an incredible tech platform, right? And so how does that mean customer service? What that makes us internally is very efficient, okay? And our data flows and our control of everything is very, very efficient, okay? And that enables our team of expert property people, that empowers them to not worry about that stuff, the stuff that can be automated and workflowed and analyzed, etc., but to think about, okay, let's get to know the property, the project, the borrower, okay, and so through the due diligence process, the underwriting process, we place high importance on ongoing interaction and really getting to know the borrower. We believe, and this is our background, is between the three co-founders, 75 years of investing and developing ourselves. We believe that it's about the human. It's a project management exercise, right? It's the human that can stuff up a good project on paper. And if you get to know the human and understand the motivations, the ambitions, etc., and you talk to them, a real, true property expert to property expert perspective, you get deep into A, cracking the challenges, B, getting to the nuts and bolts of where the risk factors are, and C, probably most importantly, you can work really well together. And that's what we do. We're a true, I mean, we go to market as property financed by property people. And that has huge value, because at the end of the day, we want to be a partnership for life of developers. We want to grow. And also, the best outcome for everyone is that the project is a success. It's the best outcome for us. It's the best outcome for the developer. And if we can all add value through the process, and make that process better, then that really... so that's a sort of broader how we think. But then sort of more into the particular time that we're facing at the moment, well, what we're doing is we've been working very, very closely with our current loan book that is in really good shape, because it's throughout the UK. It's generally smaller sites, less dense sites, largely outside of London. You can implement safe operating procedures in easier way to keep building and construction moving in our book, which Robert Jenrick has absolutely encouraged. But so that's sort of, sort of the existing book, sort of working with each and individual, each and every borrower, cross-fertilizing ideas and procedures and best practice, etc. And again, that's adding value to everyone on our book. And then probably just finally, a bit that says, right, okay, new applicants. We're seeing new applicants because people knew we were funding throughout COVID-19. We've seen new applicants that were struggling with existing or had offers turned down because of COVID-19. So we were able to assess those and say, is it best for that project to move ahead now? Can it do so safely and securely? And then finally, for people who had actually had drawdowns refused for no fault of the project themselves. So we've refinanced a number of those and got that project moving again and back in shape, and that developer out of a sticky situation.
And you've got a number of different product offerings, just from having a look at everything that you offer on your website, but what has been the split of loans in terms of bridging and development finance, and what is in terms of what your completion milestone, which is coming up, and what is your appetite for both of these, the end of this year and into next year? So anything on, where your sweet spots are, or any new areas that you're looking at or want to expand into?
Yeah, we've got strong appetite lending right now, as we have done throughout COVID-19. One of the reasons we can do that is because we have diverse sources of capital, from retail, high net worth, sophisticated, ultra high net worth, funds and institutions, all putting money through our platform. So, we are very much open for business, as we have been. And if we think about how the book is made up, the back book is about 32% by volume is new build, pure new build. 21% conventional conversion of residential units to multiple units. 14% commercial to residential conversions. 13% development exit and development finish and exit products. And then around about 11%, how we term bridging, is partly a definitional factor anyway. But the way we see bridging is the pre-development bridging. So maybe it's knocking out pre-commencements or similar, and then we'll roll into a development facility. Ultimately, we're a specialist property project lender, development lender. That's our core business. That's what we're looking to fund, but we will bridge into that.
A wide variety there. What have you seen the most demand for during the last 6 months or so? Predominantly stuff that wasn't in our pipeline anyway, as a lot of development exit, development finish and exit product. It's a great product. We get to grips with that very swiftly and can refinance people very swiftly. At the end of the day, it's a challenging space to be, because it's not necessarily the fault of the project that it is running late and it's starting to hit penalty interest rates and fees. And so we'll help people do that. Moving forward, I think it's really interesting. Well, we have been funding our conventional development projects, again, as long as it's appropriate for them to proceed safely. Looking forward, we've done a number of airspace development projects. Some of those, we have a certain doing that. That's a dedicated product with Crowdproperty, and clearly with permitted development rights changes, that's going to be a hot topic. And overall, there's a huge opportunity there anyway. There's an underlying macro trend for densification in cities to find housing. The permitted development rules will enhance that significantly.
There will be a slight question mark about the overall market and how many of those you can put on, given that they're slightly more, by definition, more compromised on outside space. So there's a number of things working for it and against it. But one of the areas that naturally feeds into that as well is our modern methods of construction product as well. Through all of the methods, modular plus, that actually works well with air rights as well. So doing modular drop-ons to buildings. MMC has typically a challenging finance structure because of cash flow requirements and security, and we very much cracked that and funded a lot of modular builds. It's clearly a massive future in house building with reference point to pretty much every country in the world, and places like Sweden and Japan are just so far ahead. It's staggering.
So that's so far behind in terms of MMC and lenders' appetite on funding these types of builds.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. And I guess the other thing is other sort of hot projects or products at the moment are JV funding. We do a lot of JV funding of JVs of every different structure. Again, all of these things, especially around joint ventures and every single structure, we've probably done ourselves. We really understand how to legally structure them, how to structure the financing for it, how to secure it. And whether it's, landowner joint ventures, whether it's, multi-party joint ventures, whatever it is, we can structure that really, really well. That's a great area for development. Actually, arguably there's a holy trinity here of airspace development, modular drop-on, that's a JV with the freeholder. We've only done 2 of those together, not all 3 together yet. But we'd be very well placed to do all 3. And I think, if there are people out there, SME developers structuring deals like that, that's the kind of entrepreneurship that is the power of SME developers throughout the UK. So we're waiting for that holy trinity deal. And then finally, I should probably mention also, we've got all of these products outlined on our website, but also we have this sort of catch-all bucket of special situations funding. And, that's like, we're all property geeks at heart, okay? And that's sort of like, right, throw us a challenge. Just chuck us something that is so complex and we'll work out the funding structure for it. And we've had...
an example for that?
Sorry?
If you have an example for that.
So one example is quite good. We had someone come to us they said, right, we've got a tired landlord situation. They've got 10 single-let Victorian terraced houses. Okay, what we want to do is we want to buy all of those. We're going to do a rolling refurb into HMOs. And because they're already sort of tenanted, so you could do it rolling quite nicely with some serviceable income. And I'll look to sell 2, 3, 4 of them, get all my cash out, and I'll end up with 6 high-performing HMOs, brand new refurbs. So it's like, right, okay, that's a good challenge of how to crack that one. I mean, we've seen deals of all shapes and sizes come to us, and we can work these out. I mean, a good example, I don't have the specifics, but there was one of our borrowers came to us and said, I've got this situation where a well-known challenger bank said, okay, we'll try and crack this. We'll try and work it out. 5 months later, nothing had been resolved. And so he got in touch. And Andrew, my co-founder and property director, who's 35 years RICS qualified, just built millions of square foot himself, hugely experienced, cracked the problem in 15 seconds. And sort of the key to unlock the whole thing. And sure enough, a few weeks later, we'd funded it. We like a good challenge.
Great to hear. I'm sure it's great to hear for brokers as well. I'm sure they've got a lot of challenges on their hands.
Yeah.
You touched upon it a bit earlier about the recent PDR changes. Do you expect to see a surge in inquiries towards the end of the year and also next year as a result of those?
Definitely. I think I'm going to show my bias here. Okay, my bias is towards SME because as former SME investors and developers ourselves, we faced real pain in financing. That's what we wanted to solve, and we really want to unlock the power of SME developers in this country, because the output from SME developers has dropped shockingly, and there have been many pains driving that. But I think that some of these permitted development proposals are, so opportunistic for the entrepreneurial SME developer heartland that could build tens of thousands of units and they're nimble, they're creative, they are opportunistic, they're fast, they're all of this, okay? And that's what we're there to fundamentally support, that creativity. So, they're the kind of people that will come to us and say, right, okay, that fits straight into our special situations bucket, or it's the holy trinity deal of all those three together. And that's who we're here to support. And by definition, change brings opportunity. And it's that entrepreneurial community that will be all over the opportunity here. In whatever city it is to exercise those permitted development opportunities and tie them up and get cracking on them. So, I think it opens the door for that. Now, there will also be big schemes, right? And it'll be too big for us. And that's great because it's more house building. But fundamentally, if you look at the macro picture, this country is spectacularly good at building 200,000 homes a year. It's spectacularly consistent. The problem is we need 300,000. And that has to come from SMEs. But it's these kind of shifts that will say, right, the opportunity's there. Let's build more homes, number one, and that equals spend in the UK economy, which is exactly what we need right now. Labour, materials, services, and all of those have direct job implications of building more or less housing. So, Boris, I'm sat here in Birmingham, which is our head office. Boris was in Dudley famously a couple of months ago saying, build, build, build. And, it's exactly right, because this is what the sector can do. Finally build enough homes and drive a hell of a lot of spend in the UK economy to really support right now. And that should be actively encouraged. And that's what we're working damn hard to do.
Just moving on to kind of managing expectations with broker partners. That's key at the moment. And, we're hearing a lot in the market that completion times across the board in the bridging space in particular, and also in the development space, is taking a bit longer. Lenders are asking a lot more questions, just because people are being a bit more cautious. How are you managing expectations with your broker clients and the borrowers directly? How are you doing this currently?
No, I mean, we fundamentally behind our business is the burning desire to solve many of the pains that we personally experience. And we're right at the sort of the cutting edge of understanding grassroots SME developers in this country. And we therefore have built our model around delivering speed, ease, and certainty of funding into the market. So look, we are delivering, we're turning around offers within 24 hours, subject tos. and acting as fast as we've ever acted. We fundamentally believe in avoiding the slow no situation. It wastes everyone's time, and whether that's developers, brokers, ourselves, etc. It just is an inefficiency in the market that we just take out. So we're just frank about things. We assess incredibly quickly because of the tech and analytics that we've got built in. We're able to respond very, very quickly. We give a clear answer. And, quite often that answer might be no, because it just doesn't stack because of this, and this. And we'll say that within hours. If it's yes, we will get right on it and set out right, okay, this is great. Subject to is right. Let's crack through all of this information now. Let's get the information flowing, and we'll run faster than you. So we will never be on the critical path. We will always be quicker than whether it's the developer providing, whether it's the broker communicating that, whether it's our legal teams, that we've gone in and refined our legal team processes because we found that was a drag on our customers' completion times. And partly because I'm a former management consultant and can't help but meddling in other people's businesses. But the reality is that all serves our customers better. Very little management of expectations needed. We will just give frank yes and no answers and push it through quickly, and we will work to your timelines.
And then just going back to what you were mentioning earlier about the 100 mil milestones, you're close to hitting it. What's next for Crowdproperty in terms of loan book ambitions and expansion, and will you be looking to secure additional funding for this?
So we're constantly adding funding sources to our platform, especially on the institutional side, that's multiple sources, because we believe in diverse sources of capital, built a more robust and reliable business to our customers. We have a very, very scalable platform, the technology, the processes, systems, data flows, analytics, etc. An incredible data set now, through billions of pounds worth of applications. We know both operationally, borrower side and capital side, that we can scale to 200, 300, 400 million of lending per year within the next few years. And that is front and central in our strategy, is building a highly scalable and ever enhancing a highly scalable platform to enable that, and never put operational drag on our business, because ultimately that could compromise customer service and customer responsiveness. So all of that is right at the heart of building that scalable business. So we've got big ambitions. We've proven scalability, having tripled, then doubled our lending over the last 3 years, and we know that we can continue on that kind of trajectory.
What are your predictions for the bridging and development market in terms of competition and offering in 2021, and how does that play into your ambitions for your loan book, like you just mentioned?
I think that so if I think about the negatives on the market, I think what we've seen is two things. Number one is that some books will be really challenged, and some of those businesses will need to spend a lot of time in their existing book, which will take them away from frontline lending. Secondly, there's been I believe a lot of instances of that reliability not playing through, and that reputational damage will last for years. And I think you need to build a business that serves customers brilliantly in whatever market environment, which is what we do. But so I think supply side of capital in terms of number of lenders will be down, whether that's less active people or people potentially exiting the market. I think that a lot of institutional capital will have very good reads over the last 6 to 9 months and the coming probably 9 to 12 months on the quality of lending decisions and underwriting decisions that are in each of these businesses. And you'll find a lot of institutional capital concentrating into quality. And because there's a proof point now, right? There's a strong proof point of major economic shock that will prove underwriting decisions. And you know, that aligns perfectly to exactly our ambitions. We're saying that we will attract more institutional capital onto our platform. It will be a less competed market. There'll be a flight to quality. There's a reputational focus on who's reliable when times get tough. And all of those factors play very well into the future of Crowdproperty.
And that's something which brokers, I'm sure, will be, you know, looking for, is the lenders which have great books and that are reliable.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, I think it's an exciting time for you guys, and you know, you've got a good year ahead of you, you know, with your plans, and I think it's great for you to discuss a bit more about the products that you offer, because you know, for some of the brokers and developers who might not already know the niches that you work in. But good luck on getting the 100 mil soon.
Thank you very much. Great to catch up.